What if I told you that you can fall head over heels in love with yourself? I'm talking that all-consuming, can't get enough, love everything about you type of love. Well, you can. The Self Plus Love Equals Balance podcast is here to show you how. Every week, we'll share tested strategies, personal stories, and invaluable resources to help you take a balanced approach to loving yourself. Here's your host, Carrie, the Balanced Nurse. Let's get to the love.
Hey guys, it's Carrie, the Balanced Nurse. And I just want to start right up front in thanking you for taking the time to vibe with me, to share in the excitement of the very first episode of the Self Plus Love Equals Balance podcast. Wow, I feel like I can breathe now. It's been a long time coming, guys, for those of you who are familiar with me and for those who are just kind of getting familiar with me. I am an integrative wellness and life coach. Most importantly, I am a very dedicated, diehard self-love advocate. I went through my own struggles from depression, from being a workaholic, from just really feeling as though I have to do it all, but that I was never enough. And I had to transform and heal myself. And in doing that, I really developed this passion in helping other women do the very same thing. And so this podcast is just another way for me to be able to do exactly what I am here to do in my purpose. Really the impact that I have been able to make and continue to make, it fills my cup just as much as it fills yours. So I'm hoping that you will be able to get a lot of not just encouragement and motivation, but also some really legitimate tools and tips that you can get that you can put in your tool bag on this journey of yours to your best self, right? Because we all deserve it. So this episode, just because of exactly what we're celebrating, the expansion of my purpose, I wanted to talk about finding your purpose. You know, lots of women, they are feeling as though they're stuck. They are so bogged down in the everyday of just making it, just doing it, that very often we lose sight of the most important piece, which is ourself, right? I know I was there, like, check, 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 to do. Let me make sure everybody else is okay. And then you get home and it's like, oh, did I eat today? Oh my gosh, I can't deal. You're trying to hide from yourself. You know, so when we get into this cycle and we become comfortable with this cycle, something like our purpose sounds cliche, right? But I have to remind you that if what you're doing does not fill your cup in some sense. And I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, because even when you are in your passion and in your purpose, it's still hard, right? But what keeps you going and pushing forward is the fact that you know that this is what you're meant to do. Right. So I wanted to dedicate this episode to that. And if you're not already in your purpose and it's something that you've been thinking about, and I know that we're just at that time, you know, it's the end of the year. We're starting to kind of reflect on, you know, what have I done and what do I want to do and what do I need to do to get there? This is a great time to start to explore your purpose. Right. So, you know, a little bit as far as how I even started this journey as far as my purpose. I'm a registered nurse by trade, and it was a really tough initiation for me. You know, I went right into a field that was high stress, and even as nurses where we're caring for people, very little information and encouragement was put on, you know, how important it was to take care of ourselves. And I remember going through the transitions, you know, getting married, having my son, transitioning in a new job where it was, you know, nurses eating their young. I was like, I had to question. I'm like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I like taking care of people, but I don't really like it. I'm not happy. I'm stressed. I get home, I'm hiding. It's kind of the spiral that I was on. From a little girl, I've always wanted to be a nurse. My mom was a nurse, and yeah, I like taking care of people, but why does this feel so hard? Why doesn't it feel right? I had to sit down and say, what is it that I do not like about this particular situation? What can I change? What can I sacrifice to get what I want? Because you see, when we ask ourselves these questions, what really causes us to procrastinate from this process is that we actually realize that we hold the answer to what it is that we're seeking. When we complain, it's two things that we're looking for. We're either looking for an audience, for someone to be able to say, yeah, that's right, I feel that way too, or we're looking for someone to save us. Either way, the onus is not on us. But when we sit down in a space of being honest and non-judgmental, we're forced to ask ourselves some really difficult questions. Where for me, that difficult question had to do with balance. I loved being a nurse. I loved taking care of people and making an impact, but I didn't like feeling as though my entire family life, my entire personal life had to be sacrificed for that. I didn't like being a stressed out and angry mom. I didn't like being an absent spouse. I didn't like feeling as though I would take sleep over socializing, and so I needed to start to do the work to figure out how can I make a change and craft this in a way to where it better serves me. So then I was forced to kind of go into the second step where, I kind of touched on it, but taking inventory. Right. So it's kind of like our job, our job that we do for other people, right? Trying to find our purpose is a job that we do for ourselves. So we're non-judgmental. We're evaluating the situation. Then we take inventory. What do I like about this? What do I want? Right? What if I could blah, 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 and do blah, blah, blah. So for my example, what if I can still, make a living, take care of people, but be able to be home with my family more and make dinners for my family. It's a big thing. I love to cook. I love the family environment and atmosphere of being able to I call it a flow, like have a flow in my home where when you are working all the time and when you're not working, you're stressed, there isn't a flow. It really does become just another thing to do. You're there, but you're not there. How many of you can really relate to that? How many of you feel as though even when you get home, it's like until everybody goes to bed, you really do not take that breath. You don't really, oh gosh. Okay, and so how was my day? You come home, it's dinner, it's bath time, it's read to the kids, it's homework, it's spend some time with, your spouse, and it's no time for you. So we're losing out on things like taking care of ourselves, eating right, having some quiet time, planning for our future, cleaning out our closets, right? Metaphorically and physically. So as I bring this up, it really drives us into the most important step, which I think really opens up the door. And I call it a door because when we start to explore our purpose, I think you end up finding out so much about yourself because the next step is the exciting part where we reflect on what we really like to do. It causes us to get out of our cycle of what we have to do, right? And it pushes us into an unfamiliar space of exploring what we really like to do. because that's where we tap into our passion, right? If we are in a state of doing what we love, it's not something that is going to cause us to take away from who we truly are. For instance, I make Reiki and essential oil infused candles. And I've always been a crafty girl and I love, love, love it. I mean, I have an entire process. I play music while I'm doing it. I'm dancing. I'm in my space. And of course, I'm tapped into that creativity that of me doing this for people and doing it as something that I'm another way that I'm helping to heal others. It's such a passion of mine that it doesn't even feel like I'm doing anything, you know? So as we step into this next step, we start to look for stuff like this. And how do we do that? How do we reflect on what we like to do? Well, after you've evaluated, after you've taken some inventory, now you're like, you know what? I really like to take something, an example. I really like to get together with my girlfriends. I do a great job at putting together events. So now you're going to be forced to come outside of your current cycle, your current box, and say, how can I do something like this where I'm just doing it just because I like to do it? Where it's not a to-do. It's not something you're checking off. But it's like, you know what? Hey, ladies, I want to host a girls' night on Friday or Saturday. Come over, and you come up with your theme. You come up with what it is that you want to do. And you're going to find that you will find time for what you like to do. That just comes naturally. Whenever I start to talk to women, they're like, oh, but I don't have time. I don't have time. You absolutely do. We all have the time to scroll social media. We all have the time to check our email over and over again, even though there hasn't been a new email in there for the past 3 hours. You will find the time to explore and do what you like to do. And then your task is to do it more often. Because our entire goal as we are living this life is to find balance. So we have bills to pay. We have a family to raise and support. But we can absolutely find the time to tap into what we like to do it more often so that we open up for opportunities to be able to do it more. Where it becomes more of a purpose for us, right? As opposed to a hobby. And even if, the way that your life is set up is where you want it as a hobby, it's what you want to do. Which brings me into the part B of this step. It's really important for us to release judgment on what it is that we like to do. I have run into more women than I would have thought along this journey that really are dimming their flame because they are afraid of how they will be accepted or what people will think or just of being judged. But you have to remember, what is it that really attracts us to people? What is it that makes a person magnetic? What makes a person magnetic is that they are on an ultimate high of being themselves. Someone who is happy, someone who is comfortable, someone who is passionate. We all know that person that when they are in that room, they light the room up solely because they are comfortable in whatever space they are in. You put them in a box, you put them in whatever shape room, you put them in a large or small room, outside, inside, doesn't matter. They are comfortable in who they are. And so if you just do that mental reset, if you would, to realize that what makes you happy is what makes everyone else happy. And if it doesn't make them happy, it's not your responsibility. Right? And I think that if we release judgment, and I use that as a part B of the step, because it really is, it should be an entire step in itself, but it really isn't really important, because I find that even when women are exploring, like, oh, I don't have time, or oh, I don't know, I have to do this, I have to do that, it's because underlying they're afraid of what people will think and what people will say if they are doing events with their girls, to go back to our example, when really their day-to-day life, they're supposed to, I don't know, whatever professional position you're in, or she's a stay-at-home mom, or oh, she's a teacher, or she's a bartender, or where does she find the time, where does she find the money? People will come up with things about anything, really. But when you're finding your purpose, the goal is to not pay attention to any of that, because this is your journey, right? The amazing thing about this, like when we're driving and we're going somewhere, we have to follow the rules. We have to follow the road rules. We got to follow the speed limit. We have to follow directions. If there's traffic, we got to sit there and just try to figure out how to not lose it, right? Because we're on the road to where everyone else is going, right? So naturally there's going to be congestion. Naturally we have to follow the limits and the directions and what we're supposed to do. However, your journey to your purpose, you got your own lane. You make your own limits. You make your own rules. And you get to determine who's on that journey with you. Right? So as we're kind of exploring these steps, you'll realize that finding your purpose is far from cliche. It actually is another job in itself, but it's an amazing job that you love to do, because you're getting to reap the benefits from it, right? Anything that we're going to do in life is hard. It takes effort, it takes work, it takes energy, right? But we keep our focus on the goal, right? So if you're in your professional job, you do what you have to do because you have to, you got a family to support, or you may want to reach certain heights, certain milestones in the position that you're in or the career that you're in. Well, guess what? When you are putting in the energy and the work to find your purpose, my goodness, what if you don't have a ceiling? What if your only goal is to keep outdoing yourself? How amazing is that? Right? And so the last step is to try new things and experiences while challenging yourself. Do not remain comfortable. I like to tell people to listen to what you have that inner response to, that, the jittery feeling, like oh gosh, I would love to do that. If you find that your attention is caught by something, or that you get like this bubbly feeling or this innate, yeah, I would love to, or oh God, wouldn't it be nice if, oh, I really love that. Pay attention to what you have a response to. That's not by chance. There's something in you that would be able to shape that want, right? Because with challenge comes growth, and you get to determine how you shape that. Right? So a very good example for me, after I had my son, I struggled with my weight, and it was really tough for me because I had always been a slim girl. And so, I did like most people do, where I bought clothes to fit who I was at the time. And each time that I bought clothes, it was always, really bad. Retail therapy is not fun. It's fun at the time, but it's not when you're like, I just bought something 2 months ago. Now I don't fit. I have to go buy something else. Going to events were always preceded with tears in a store, in a fitting room, and just really feeling like, I can't do this. Why can't I get it together? And so my challenge for myself was to stop starting a new diet and just push forward and do it. So I did. I challenged myself. I pushed through, and I took it week by week. I started seeing results, and I'm like, yeah, I could do this. We're all eating the same thing. I'm not feeling as though I'm starving myself. Okay, yeah, I went to the gym twice this week. Oh, I made it 3 times this week. Oh, I get to sit in the sauna. I'm liking this. I like how I feel. Look at my skin. All right, I'm drinking more water. And each time I'm being my own cheerleader, just doing, just doing. So then I started to really, drop sizes and so forth. And my key was there was a bikini that I held on to from college. And it was very basic, an American flag bikini, but I loved it. And I'm like, gosh, it would be nice if I could fit into that bikini. And to me, it was something that I should have just let go of. Here I am years later. I'm a mom, struggling with my weight. Why am I still hanging on to this bikini? However, it became my challenge. It became what pushed me. Every other week, I was trying on that bikini and realizing the fact that I was challenging myself to get into something that, if I would have had a conversation for anybody else's approval, I'd be like, Carrie, please let it go. Let it go. You're a mom now. You had that back in college. Let it go. Well, my challenge was not to let it go. My challenge was to look better in that bikini then as a mom than I did in college. And I did it, and it was hard. And I don't want you to feel as though me giving you these steps to exploring your purpose is going to be a walk in the park. It's not. It's not. Think about it. When you go to work, there are some days you love what you do, and there are other days where you're like, okay, how much time do I have? Can I call out today? Been there. Right? And sometimes you're going to want to take a break from your purpose and say, something, I don't know if I could do this today, but I bet you won't. You will not call out on yourself as much as you feel the need to call out when it's someone else pulling at you, something else pulling at you, things that just aren't in alignment with you. No, you'll keep pushing through. You may slow down, but you're not gonna give up. And so I'm hoping that this at least opens up your mind to explore something that maybe you wouldn't have given a thought to outside of deciding to vibe with me today, which again, I'm so grateful for. My request from you is for you to take the time this week and really dig into and map out how you can start to explore what your purpose is. Don't fixate on trying to find it, like identify it, give it a name and, pretty letters and glitter and bling and all that good stuff. No, just start by being honest and non-judgmental about where you are currently, what your current path is. Okay? Then the next step is you're going to take inventory. What do you like about where you are currently? What do you not like? What would you like it to be? Throw some what ifs in there. What if I can travel and still spend time with my family and still be able to make a living doing what I like to do? Throw some what ifs in there. And do not be afraid for them to be too big. If it's planted in you, if you thought about it, it's not too big. It's meant to be. It's something that innately you feel that you deserve, and you do. Right? And then the next step is to realize that by taking the time and reflecting on what you like to do, you now need to do more of it. Right? Find the opportunities to do more of what you like to do so that you can tap into what about this can I really do? What do I like about this? Fine, you like to event plan. All right, girls, we're going to make this every month and I'll host it and I'll come up with the themes and I'll delegate who does what or whatever. You'll get creative because it's a part of you. But just reflect on what you like to do and then do more of it. Right? And then you're going to step into not being apologetic about taking the time to do what you like to do. You're going to release judgment of that. You're going to just do it unapologetically. And then the next step, you're going to take the time to try new things, new experiences while challenging yourself. As long as you're doing it with the goal of finding your purpose, a little challenge, it's not going to take any, it's not going to take any years off your life. If anything, you're going to add years to your life, purposeful years to your life, because with challenge comes growth, and you're going to shape that growth. Well, guys, we have made it through our first episode, and I am eternally grateful that you have spent this time with me here today. Whatever platform you are listening on, make sure that you subscribe so that you can know when I upload the next episode. Like and share, comment, of course. Would love your feedback. If you want to connect with me on a deeper level for anything that I provide, you can definitely learn more about me and reach out to me on my website. It's www.thebalancedrn.com, or you can also reach out to me via email, and that's info@thebalancedrn.com as well too. So until next time, just keep doing your math a little differently. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Self plus Love equals Balance. Be sure to rate and review us on whatever app you use to listen. It goes a long way in helping others find our community. Until then, remember to do your math a little differently and love yourself.